Hey hon, I'm Chloe and this is the Snowflake or Twisted Angel tutorial. My mission is to share my passion for pole dancing and make pole dancing easy to learn and accessible. This is the 17th video of the intermediate pole trick tutorial series. In order to maximize your training out of all the videos, I highly recommend you to start from the very first video of this playlist, as the tricks would be a progression of the video before. The Snowflake or the Twisted Angel is a very pretty twisted trick. Your prerequisite for this move is your top hand viva and your invert and outside leg hang, so make sure you watch that before. This video is mirrored for your ease of learning. I'll have a red wristband on my right wrist and my right ankle to indicate the right side of my body if you do get confused of the directions. This trick tutorial is created for you for information and educational purposes only, and for you to enjoy learning pole dancing from the comfort of your own home. Please participate at your own risk and don't work beyond your capability, and seek help or spotting when necessary. For any health concerns, please make sure you seek professional medical advice. Please also to make sure you warm up your body before you start this video. I have a warm up depending on your level under each playlist so that you can try that warm up before you do these tricks. If you enjoy this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up so that I know to create more of these kinds of videos, and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet so that you are notified every single time I upload a video. If you're looking to further your pole journey and combining tricks and dance together, then consider subscribing to my online learning platform, Pole Art Vault, where you'll be learning tricks and dance together and learning an entire routine with combos and dance mixed. For further information, you can find the link in the description. Alrighty, without further ado, let's get into the Snowflake or Twisted Angel tutorial. Alrighty, now let's get into our conditioning. Now, just to preface this, I won't be going through any conditioning that involves our top hand viva, our straddle invert, or outside leg hangs. So if you need those specific conditionings, make sure you go watch that video. Now, we're gonna be working on oblique twist, which is part of the Snowflake or the Twisted Angel move. Now, we're gonna start off by standing facing away from the pole. Now, in terms of your position, ensure that you're able to grab the pole while your elbow is still bent with your hand on both sides. So this is essentially just the move that we're about to do. So you're going to start turning your toe in one direction. So whichever leg is back, same hand comes forward, and you're gonna grab the pole at chest height. Now think about pulling the pole forward and think about twisting away from the pole. So I'm twisting to the back. Good. And then you're going to swap it over to the other side. So you're going to face your back against the pole again, turn towards the other direction. You're going to grab the pole with your opposite hand. Pull the pole away from you and twist in the opposite direction. Now, if you don't feel much of a twist, it could be that you're not generating that push and pull. So remember to cross your legs fully, and then whichever hand that is on the pole, you're trying to pull the pole this way. It's almost like you're trying to slam the door shut. Now, once you're going this way, your body is going the other direction. So remember, you want to create this sort of movement. So let's just try this a few times. So you're going to grab the pole, twist away, other side, grab, twist. We're gonna do one last round, grab the pole, twist away, and then other side, twist. Well done. That's all your conditioning done. Alrighty, now let's get into our Snowflake or Twisted Angel tutorial. Now I'm going to show you how to do it on static, but you can obviously do this on spin. They both work. If anything, I think this move looks pretty on spin, but just for the angle's sake. I'm going to try one side from a top hand and viva, and then the other side from a straddle from an outside leg hang. So this is what a Twisted Angel looks like. Oh, that was so grippy. I can just feel that, all that grip on my thighs. So let's try this from a top-handed viva first. So I'm gonna come onto one side of the pole. Now, I'm going to hook my inside leg onto the pole. So I'm gonna come onto my tippy toes, inside and at shoulder height. Then I'm gonna hook my knee nice and high. From there, my top hand is gonna come on top, or you can start in a bottom hand viva if you like. I'm gonna drop my outside leg that's on the pole here, on the floor. I'm gonna bring that behind. Now make sure that you're sinking your chest slightly down until you get that pole into your hip. And then whichever leg is hooked, your opposite hand, so my left hand is gonna come off. I'm gonna bend that back leg, grab that foot, and you're gonna kick into your hand and extend, lean your head backwards. To come out, grab the pole back, step out with your left leg, and then coming out. Well done. Now, let's try this on the other side. Now, just to let you know, if you do want to wear heels, heels actually give you extra sort of like area to grip. So it is easier if you do struggle to grab your back foot. So that's another option if you'd like to take. Otherwise, you can obviously do it barefoot. So let's try this on the other side. But on the other side, I'm going to show you how to do it from a outside leg hang. So we're starting in our invert. Outside leg hang. Now you're gonna pull both of your hands up first, so outside hand on top, whoop, inside hand grabs. Now from there, your outside hand comes off, so remember your left hand this time, opposite hand, bend your back leg, grab that tippy toe, then kick into your hand, kick, and lean back, extend. To come out, take the hand off, grab the pole, pull up, and slide down. Well done. So there you have it. There is your snowflake or twisted angel on both sides. First side, we did it from a standing knee hook into a top hand and viva. And then on the other side, we did it from an invert outside knee hook. Well done. Alrighty, let's go through some tips and common mistakes. Now, our first common mistake is our positioning of our top hand. Now, remember that in the twisted angel position, if your top hand is too high or too far from the top knee that's hooked, that's going to be hard for you to settle your hip down. So remember that when you're in this position, the lower your hand is, the easier it is for you to lean backwards. Also, the easier it is for you to grab your foot. I do understand that it is going to be really hard in your grip to be able to hold that low. So remember that if you need to keep practicing your grip, just keep practicing your top hand and viva. That's going to help you a lot through kind of like leaning away as well. Now, once you're in your twisted angel, if you do struggle with the grip, initially you can bring your hand up, then you can slide your hand down. So that's another option you can take. So make sure that your hand is nice and low, drop that leg back. Remember, if your hand is too high, it's gonna be really hard for you to grab, so bring it down a little bit lower so that it's easier for you to grab that back foot. Now, let's talk about our leg hook in that position. Now, in that position, you are trying to fold your hip to your upper part of your thigh. Now, if you don't settle your hip into your thigh here, it's actually going to be really hard. So you're in full flexion of your hip and you're grabbing your back leg. So if you're extending your hip as such, you won't be able to grab your back leg. So remember, think about once you hook your knee, press your hip down to the floor and then press your hip into your thigh as much as you can and then grab your back foot. Now let's talk about grabbing that back foot. Now, if you are feeling flexy or if you are more on the flexible side, which I do recommend you work on your flexibility as soon as you can, because The earlier you work on it, the easier it is for you later on when you go through all the levels, because some of the moves are gonna start to get really flexy. Now, having said that, you can just grab your back foot and that's still gonna look pretty, but if you want a little bit more extension, then think about kicking into your hand. So I just cued you earlier on kicking that back foot. That's where it comes in. So again, it doesn't really matter if you just grab, but if you just grab, what happens is that your legs are still kind of like bent, but if you start kicking into your hand, then you can extend your leg a little bit more and it's gonna create more of a different, unique shape. Now, obviously it is up to you what you prefer. If you like that bent leg more, feel free to do that. If you like that full extension, making that really bendy, then you want to start kicking into your hand. So there are your two options. Again, you can always work with your body. Not everyone is gonna feel really comfortable doing flexibility stuff. I totally understand that as well. So pick your own choice when it comes to your leg. Now, I also want to just talk about the grip points, because I guess the grip points are going to be really crucial for this one. So obviously your top hand is on the pole. It's your opposite hand to your knee hook. It's your knee hook, and then also your bottom top of the thigh. So remember that you're gonna need a lot of grip points, I should say grip for those points. So if you don't have any grip, make sure you grip up. If your hands are sticky or sweaty, get something a little bit more drying. And then if your hands or your body is dry, make sure you get something a little bit more stickier. These Superfly Honey sticky leggings have been such a savior for me today because my skin is super dry. So just make sure you work with what you have and what works in terms of your grip. Now, lastly, I just want to talk about our head positioning in the Twisted Angel. Now, remember, try not to keep your head still. Make sure you're leaning back. My neck is actually strained today, so I must have slept weird or maybe overstretching. So I'm like really struggling to extend the front of my neck, but make sure you're leaning all the way backwards. Drop your shoulder down, lean back. If you want to like come into like full extension, obviously the more you open your chest and drop the shoulders down, the prettier it looks. So remember, head positioning, super crucial. Lean backwards in that snowflake. Rather than here, oh, my hand is really high, I just realized. Rather than here, lean all the way back. Now this move is quite twisty through the oblique. So if you feel like you're still lacking in range of motion here, remember to keep working on that conditioning. It is quite twisty. It is a lot of sort of like knee tuck as well. So remember that this move might not be for everyone. It is twisty from the side. So if you need to keep working on that, make sure you work on conditioning as well. And those are all your tips and common mistakes. Now, a little tip I have for you today, and speaking on flexibility earlier, is starting to work on your flex now, if you haven't yet. Now, the higher you get in the intermediate pole trick tutorial series, or I should probably say deeper you get into, a lot of the moves are starting to become a little bit more flexibility based. Now, it might have been easier for you to get away with not having that flexibility earlier, but now flexibility is going to be even more important. And these are the reasons why as well. It's not just for aesthetic reasons, but it's also because when you start working on your body, and if you don't have the mobility, you're going to be prone to getting injured as well. So remember that flexibility is something you always want to work on, flexibility and mobility and conditioning, because these are really, really crucial. If you're not really working on active flexibility, then a lot of the moves are going to be very tricky to execute, and obviously it doesn't look as pretty, and you do risk injury as well. So remember to start working on your flexibility as much as you can now. A lot of the warm-ups that we do, and also the intermediate warm-up that is part of this playlist, will help you achieve mobility. But remember that when you want to achieve mobility, that means that you always have to push yourself to getting into the full range of your extent. So like, let's say for example, you're doing a lunge. It's not about just doing a lunge. It's about really pressing through, making sure that you come into your full range of motion in your lunges. So remember, always work on your end range of motion when you're doing your warm-up or any move. In fact, even doing that snowflake today, you are still working on your flexibility, surprisingly, because you are doing that move, you're coming into full extension of that move. So remember, when you're doing your moves as well, you can work on flexibility. It's just a matter of you going to that full range of motion in all the moves. So keep working or start working on your flexibility now. Thank you so much for joining me in the Snowflake or Twisted Angel tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the very next tutorial. Bye! So thirsty. Kids! They're sleeping. Hey, sweetie, you haven't showed your face to everyone for a while. Because you've been so lazy, you're just sleeping these days. Do you want to say hi to friends?